Every Mason remembers the moment they first encountered the working tools. Those seemingly simple implements that hold such profound meaning. But what if I told you there's a hidden pattern in these tools? A secret structure that, once understood, transforms them from a mere symbol into a practical system for both personal and professional development. Well, today we're going to unlock that secret. In this edition of Daily Masonic Progress, we'll explore how each working tool operates on three distinct levels, what those three levels are, as well as how to use them, and how understanding this pattern will give you a powerful new way to apply these ancient teachings in your daily life. Whether you're a newly initiated brother or a seasoned past master, this insight will transform how you view and use these tools. Every single working tool in Masonry starts with a practical explanation, and there's a profound reason for this. These aren't just historical footnotes, they're teaching us universal principles of achievement. In fact, once you understand this pattern, you'll see how these same principles are at work in every successful project or endeavor. Here's a challenge many Masons face. We often rush through these operative explanations, seeing them as mere historical context, something about stonework that perhaps doesn't apply to our modern lives. We're eager to get to the moral lessons, but in doing so, we miss something incredibly valuable, a practical framework for achievement that can be applied to any task or any project. And understanding these operative applications matters because they give us a tested and proven approach to any endeavor. Whether you're building a business, managing a project, developing a skill, learning the ritual, or working towards any goal, these aren't just ancient building techniques. They're universal principles of effective work. So let's look at exactly how these tools work together in their operative sense. For example, the first degree gives us three distinct tools, each with a specific purpose. First, we're given the 24-inch gauge. Next, the common gavel. And finally, we have the chisel. Let's break down what each tool teaches us about effective work. The 24-inch gauge shows us three crucial elements in planning: measuring the work itself, which is understanding the scope; breaking it into its proper proportions, which is creating manageable tasks; and estimating the resources needed, whether it's time, materials, and effort. The common gavel teaches us about initial execution, identifying what does and doesn't belong, removing major obstacles, and preparing the work for its refinement. The chisel demonstrates the importance of precision, whether it's making precise and intentional marks, working with patience and skill, and creating a lasting impact through careful effort. But do you see the pattern here? These tools give us a complete system for approaching any task. First, we need to measure and plan, then remove major obstacles, and then finally, refine with precision. But this just isn't about stonework. It's how to approach any significant undertaking successfully. But here's what makes this even more fascinating. These practical applications are just the first level of understanding. Next, we'll explore how these same principles transform into powerful tools for personal development. In every working tool's charge, there's a pivotal moment marked by the words that we are not, however, here assembled as operative, rather as free and accepted or speculative Masons. And this just isn't a transition, it's a key that unlocks a parallel system of personal development that's hidden within these tools. Many Masons see these speculative meanings as completely separate from the operative uses we just discussed. We compartmentalize them. Practical uses over here, moral lessons over there. But this misses something profound, and it's how each speculative application perfectly mirrors its operative principle. And understanding this parallel transforms these from abstract moral lessons into practical tools for personal growth. And this parallel between operative and speculative applications matters because it shows us exactly how to apply these tools to our internal development. Just as the operative use gives us a system for external achievement, the speculative applications provide a structured approach to personal growth, and moral development. So let's examine how each tool's speculative application directly mirrors its operative use. 24-inch gauge transforms from a measuring physical materials to measuring something equally precious, our time. The ritual tells us, it reminds us of the division of the natural day into 24 hours and teaches us to then divide our time between our necessary duties and employment, rest and refreshment, and prayer, meditation, as well as service to others. The common gavel shifts from removing physical roughness to addressing our character flaws. It becomes our force of conscience, which teaches us to keep down our negative thoughts, to moderate our anger and control it, and then repress negative emotions such as envy. Then the chisel evolves from shaping stone to refining character. The ritual tells us that the mind is like it's stone, it's natural, it's rough, and it's unpolished. And then it shows us how education and self improvement transforms this rough nature, develops our capabilities, and improves our understanding. So let's now see how each of these speculative applications work in practice. When the 24-inch gauge is teaching time management, it requires a regular self-audit of how we spend our hours. We need to balance our allocation of time between the different areas in our life. And we also need to be conscious of how we prioritize the important activities. The common gavel guides our self-improvement through regular moral inventory, identifying our character flaws, and active work to remove these negative traits. The chisel directs our personal development through continuous education, refinement of character, and polishing the rough edges in our nature. Notice how these perfectly mirror the operative uses. Just as the 24-inch gauge measures physical materials, it measures our time. The common gavel removes the physical roughness, it removes our character flaws, and the chisel refines the stone like it refines our nature. This isn't a coincidence. It's a deliberate system showing how physical principles apply to personal development. But there's still one more level to understand. Hidden beneath both these operative and speculative applications lie something that unites them all. So let's uncover the final and most fundamental principles hidden within the tools. You see, hidden within each working tool, beneath both its operative use and its speculative application, lies something even more fundamental, a core value that drives both applications. And once you see these values, you'll understand why these tools have endured for centuries and why they are still relevant today. Here's what most Masons miss. These core values aren't explicitly stated in our ritual. They're hidden in plain sight and revealed only when you understand how the operative and speculative applications connect. Hidden within each working tool, beneath both its operative use and its speculative application, lies something even more fundamental, a core value that drives both applications. Once you see these values, you'll understand why these tools have endured for centuries and why they remain relevant today. These core values matter because they're universal principles that transcend both operative and speculative uses. They explain why these tools work both practically and philosophically. More importantly, they give us fundamental principles that we can apply to any situation in life. Let's discover how each working tool reveals its core value. The 24-inch gauge's core value is measurement. Operatively, measuring materials and work. Speculatively, measuring time and duties. The common principle is nothing can be improved until it's measured. The common gavel's core value is action. Actively removing excess material, addressing our character flaws, and the common principle is that change actually requires decisive action. You can't be stationary. And the chisel's core value is perseverance. You see, patient, persistent, and refined work combined with continuous self-improvement teaches us about excellence that requires sustained effort. So let's look at how these core values now appear in both the speculative as well as the operative application. For the 24-inch gauge, it's to measure the work and prepare its parts. Speculatively, it's the division of the natural day into 24 hours, and this gives us that careful assessment precedes effective action. It's why the 24-inch gauge is first. Then action through the common gavel is to remove all superfluous knobs and excrescences. It helps us keep down our unbecoming thoughts, and it teaches that direct and purposeful action is what creates change. Whilst perseverance through the chisel, we make impressions on the hardest material, which means when the going gets tough, it's there to remind us to continue to persevere. But speculatively, it transforms the untaught mind into a civilized being, which means that lasting change requires consistent effort, even when things are difficult. And these core values then form a universal formula for achievement. First, measurement gives us understanding, then action creates change, and finally, perseverance ensures success. And this pattern works because it reflects the fundamental truths about how change happens, whether it's change in stone, in character, or in our life. And by understanding the three levels of operative, speculative, and the value, we unlock the full power of the working tools. They become more than mere symbols, more than lessons of moral instruction. They become practical tools for both external achievement and internal growth. But knowing isn't enough. We need to put them to use. The point is, the secret of the working tools isn't just their individual meaning. It's understanding how these three levels work together, how every tool teaches us both how to work and how to live, guided by timeless values that can apply to any endeavor. This isn't just ancient wisdom. It's a practical framework for success that's as relevant today as it was centuries ago. Whether you're building a career, developing character, building software for a computer, or pursuing any worthy goal, these tools provide you the blueprint for achievement.